You're a
gosh,
cheater.
I love
can't
video
believe you
games.
played Ganondorf.
I love
Why do you keep
video
on Warlock
games.
punching? Seriously? It's like the only thing you know how to do.
Man, I love being cool, I love being awesome, I love being epic, I love playing Fortnite. So what about you, huh? That's a nice one.
so good, bro.
Hey! Put Fortnite on!
Wish for better life. Wish me go back. Fortnite. Fortnite, wait for me, man.
Fortnite all day, every day,
What can this Nintendo Switch do? Can we use this as a weapon?
Okay, that's... What the? They're not here! What the heck? Where are we? It's all different here.
Don't worry, you guys aren't dead or anything. I sense that you guys were under duress at the hands of criminals, so I sent you back to the 1920s. The 1920s is famous for the rise of organized crime in America. The reason for the rise of organized crime in America? Well, that's because of the Prohibition Act. The Prohibition Act had outlawed alcohol for consumption, so people began illegally creating their own alcohol and trafficking it to certain districts in which they would sell them. Organized crime then began to evolve, in which it would involve other illicit activities such as gambling and many more. Compared to the 1920s, there's a large disparity in the amount of youth crimes committed now and back then, with it being significantly higher nowadays. Organized crime nowadays is a lot different, especially due to the glaring fact that alcohol is no longer illegal. Organized crime is often committed by much smaller groups, and they're oftentimes more intensively planned.
The Switch is talking?
Yeah, of course it's talking. I don't know why.
It has sound?
You can...
Let's do this quickly before the coppers catch us. Yeah, smuggling alcohol during the Prohibition era was hard because it was illegal.
Yeah, sure is illegal. Sure is difficult.
Hey, I heard some dudes were heading to our territory.
Yeah, we might have to pack some heat.
Yeah, come on, let's go.
What the? Who are those guys?
Hey, what are you doing smuggling alcohol in our territory?
Oh, your territory.
Yep, it's definitely ours, I checked.
I hear the alarm! The coppers are coming! Run!
Oh man, my...
Go. Hey, look at this. Bunch of alcohol.
You guys...
OMG, ROFL, LOL, the Switch is growing bright. Bright.
Yeah, I know. Stuff looks a lot different now, too. What's going on? Timeline.
The
Is this the 1960s?
60s? Huh? What?
This time, I teleported you guys to the 1960s. The 1960s is famous for crime because this was when the early use of the term serial killer began. This is all due to people like the Zodiac Killer, who was believed to have killed about 37 people, and the Boston Strangler, who killed 13 women.
Dude, I got money. Don't,
You found yourself in a pretty hairy situation.
don't, please. I got money, bro. Come on, bro.
Sorry, guys. You're supposed to be a serial killer in this skit.
There are also several popular murders during this decade, including assassinations of famous figures such as James Earl Ray, who assassinated Martin Luther King Jr., Lee Harvey Oswald, supposedly assassinated John F. Kennedy, and Sirhan Sirhan, who assassinated Robert F. Kennedy.
Groovy. It's like I helped clear his head.
Black and Hispanic gangs came to a rise during the 1960s in the U.S. racial anti-black violence. As a direct contribution to black youths forming self-protection societies that transformed into black gangs in the late 1960s.
Set the switches great, bright.
Huh? We're in a different timeline? Yeah, all this nostalgia. It looks like the 90s. Yes.
I made another 30-year jump. Right now we're in the 1990s. Don't worry, with the next jump, I should be able to send you guys back to the present day. You see, in the 1990s, transnational organized crime started during the 1970s, but, well, it began accelerating in the 1990s. Crime statistics in the 1990s suggested that gangs were responsible for a large percentage of homicide cases and for about 40% of illegal drug sales in urban areas. There was an increase in South American gang activity. One of the most popular modern successors of criminal gangs were the Bloods and the Crips of Los Angeles. In the 1990s, there was also the O.J. Simpson case and the Waco siege in 1993. You see, the 1990s were a lot different from the 1960s due to the progression in illicit drug trade over just unparalleled killings of the serial killers. The reason for drug trade ramping up was because of the War on Drugs Act during Ronald Reagan's presidency. This had made most drugs illegal, and as such, illicit drug trafficking began in order to push product alongside certain areas, which is how transnational organized crime even started, because the drugs would be shipped from South American countries most of the time.
Oh man, can't believe we got a whole stack of greens in this bag.
Cha-ching! Hey, this is ridiculous. Give me all your stuff.
If it ain't the straight freaks.
Shut up. Straight fries are better than curly fries. I like waffle fries.
What the? They're back!
Oh, some crazy crime back there. I know, we went through the 1920s, 1960s, 1990s. You know, we've seen some pretty crazy stuff. You guys should stop your crime. You know, it's pretty crazy. Should we? Should we stop? Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Shit.